The Navy, they used to train them in biplanes, two wings, small airplane, but it'd be a small biplane. And they would train them in that, and then they would train them into a more powerful airplane. Well, they started us in SNJs, which was a single, high-powered, low-wing, two pilots. That's all we ever got trained in. I never flew a light airplane in my life.
Pilot and co-pilot?
Yeah, behind, front.
Oh, front and back?
Front and back.
Okay.
Front and back. And again, and the pilot.
Both had pilot capability?
Yeah, both had pilot. Yeah,
it's a training.
The instructor was in the back.
Yeah, it's a training.
It's a training
airplane.
Airplane. Okay. It could obviously use it for other things,
right.
To go from point A to point B, but it was a training airplane so that the student sat up front, But anyway, we got trained in the SNJ, okay? That's the only airframe I flew in flight school until I went to advanced training.
Then you go to Corpus Christi?
Yes.
What do you fly there?
PBMs. We were teaching us to fly PBMs, and the only place I flew PBMs was right here. From then on, I was always at where we had amphibious airplane. And everybody got the advanced training because that was a twin-engine airplane. It was probably a 55,000-pound airplane. Not as big as a P5M. It was just 65 or 68. I don't remember the details of the airplanes. I admit that.
Okay.
But anyway, we had amphibious airplanes because we had the PBY. And that was an amphibious airplane. And then we were replacing the PBY with the HU-16. I had the HU-16 here when I got out of flight training. So I got to fly it right away.
So you go from Corpus Christi to San Diego. You got the PBY.
PBY, we got the JRF.
JRF.
We had the PBY and then we HU-16. We had a JRB here for some time. I don't remember whether I got to fly that or not. We had a JRB in Traverse City too, and I flew it there. The PBM is a seaplane.
Yeah.
Only on the air water. The PBY was an amphibious airplane. JRF was an amphibious. Both twin-engine airplanes. The JRB was a single pilot airplane, however. You could fly it it had two pilot seats, but you could fly it with just one pilot and a crew member. Somebody closed the door and it carried 8 to 10 people, I guess. Forgotten that too. But anyway, it would carry, passengers. And then, of course, it was an amphibious airplane. We could land it on the water and we could do rescues with it, but we only had a pilot and a crew member. We weren't very capable. It wasn't loaded with rescue equipment. In other words, it didn't have droppable rafts and stuff like that. It didn't have equipment on board because it was made to carry people. And we used it primarily from here to take care of flying people back and forth at the district office. Well, we had it as a training airplane.
Okay.
And we could use it for searches. We'd send people out to search with that. See, because it was you could send 2 people and 2 pilots and
how many pilots did San Diego have then?
I don't know. I'm going to say we had 20, 25. Everybody was a pilot. That's right. Well, the supply officer wasn't. He was a warrant officer.
All the operations people were.
All the operations people were pilots. And Roy Camper was our engineer. This is the guy that brought me an engine when I was in Brownsville.
Yeah.
Roy Camper, he's a good guy. I really liked Roy Camper.
Then Alaska.
Alaska, I went there and we had PBYs, and then we started to get the HU-16. But I flew in a PBY in Alaska most of my time there. It was a very simple airplane. It had a big wing. It had no flaps. It was, as we used to say, it took off at 80, flew at 80, and landed at 80. It wasn't really, and the service ceiling was 10,000 feet, and all the mountains are 12,000 feet. Those are all stories we have about the PBY. But it was a good airplane, and it was reliable, and it was very simple. And it's the one we could land on the side of the mountain. They just graded off the side of the mountain, and we landed there. And when you took off downhill, downwind, and you went off the edge of the end runway, and it went down about 200 feet to the water, and you had plenty of time to pick up speed. You hope.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, then we went to Traverse City, and they had the HU-16. They had a JRB. Those were the two fixed-wing airplanes we had. Then we had an HO-3S helicopter. I was now a helicopter pilot because I went to helicopter school when I left San Diego. Didn't fly in helicopters in Kodiak because we didn't have any. HO-3S and HO-4S in Traverse City. Then I went to Bermuda, and we were flying the P-5M, which is a seaplane, and we were converting to the HU-16 when I was leaving there. Then I went to the academy, and I was flying an HU-16 with the people out of Quonset Point for my qualifications. When I put that training center together, they sent me 3 airplanes. They were all HU-16.
Okay.
And the pilots to go with them. So we put together an air station, a 3-plane air station for the summer. And then I went to Savannah, and I was teaching a H-52. That was the BATU, Basic Operational Training Unit, standardized training for the H-52. That was a helicopter. And then I went to Mobile, and we had HU-16s and the H-52. I flew both of those there.